Hello again, my name is Gabe Zolna. You know, a friend of mine that's an excellent writer, he sent me something that he wrote, and he titled it, Possibilities of War and the Outcomes. And again, this is all pure speculation. But I read it over, and I had a friend of mine listening as I read it, and he thought, you might all enjoy it. So here it is. Possibilities of war and the outcomes. It looks to me the war in North Korea will start first. Judging by the time required for setting the stage, it seems logical it will start there in the next few weeks. It appears that sufficient warning has been given to all parties involved that a preemptive strike will take place to knock out their military and any nuclear threats. We'll need to keep our fingers crossed North Korea hasn't pre-placed a nuke already in a U.S. city or can launch a missile close to the U.S. coast. This kind of modern warfare has to be done rapidly so the enemy has no opportunity to hit back. It will, the first time such an attack has ever been made in history. The outcome will probably be the unification of North and South Korea. In a time of reconciliation and rebuilding, for a time, President Trump's popularity will soar. The situation between the U.S. and China regarding the South China Sea and the Spratly Island is a separate issue. My guess is that China will stand down, be pragmatic, and avoid a confrontation with the U.S. They will talk big right up until the time comes for confrontation. Then we'll settle things in a diplomatic fashion with the countries involved in the territorial dispute. If it goes another direction, the U.S. will back up their play with nuclear weapons and be prepared to take out all of China's nuclear missiles and any military assets as quick as they did with North Korea. The next huge conflict will be in Syria, which could begin in the next month to 6 months or longer. The strategy is a bit different, but the outcome could be catastrophic and unpredictable. Since it also involves Russia, the experts aren't sure how Putin will respond. Putin knows they're boxing him in and has prepared the best that he can. But they don't know exactly how and when he'll respond. It could drag on for months or years, or escalate into a nuclear exchange in a matter of hours once it begins. Logic would suggest that Putin would respond in a slow, methodical way to prevent things from escalating too soon or too far. But regardless which response is chosen, Putin's assets and his country's economy will be diminished one step at a time. It appears to me that Putin is trying to downplay the seriousness of the situation by not having any knee-jerk reactions and to keep the war talk and saber-rattling to a minimum. Since we don't know all of his options, it is not possible to be aware of any tricky moves he would have reserved or what kind of diplomacy he will employ. Regarding what NATO and the U.S. intends to do to Russia, this is one of the most daring military acts of aggression ever undertaken by any one adversary against another. This confrontation involves more than what is going on in the Middle East. It also affects what happens between Russia and NATO in Europe. Military equipment and troops on both sides have already been deployed towards the front lines in lieu of a war. At this time, I have no idea how severe it will be or what the outcome will be. I do, however, know what the minimum and maximum outcome will be. 1. Russia will capitulate, surrender unconditionally, and allow the globalists to balkanize them into manageable pieces. All nuclear arms will stand down, and no shots will be fired by either side. 2. the confrontation in Syria and in the Ukraine escalates into a shooting war between the US and Russia, a full nuclear exchange takes place between Russia and the United States, resulting in millions killed, and the Earth goes into a nuclear winter, which will eventually cause the deaths of billions worldwide. The big mystery is we don't know the full range of options and the possibilities of those two outcomes. It is a situation where we will have to think quickly on our feet as events occur to have a better understanding what might happen. The bottom line is, as the quote, little people, end of quote, we have little to say or impact on what happens between the superpowers. Perhaps some people would prefer not to know what could happen, so it reduces the anxiety and stress level. All we can do now is keep our eyes open and be prepared the best way we can for whatever outcome takes place. Written by a friend of mine. I'm not going to share his name unless he wants it to be shared. But I sure would like you to pass this one around. I think it was incredibly well written. And I think he's got a lot of foresight. Don't you?